Let me tell you something about a woman who walks alone. See, the world has a way of making you believe that solitude is a curse. That if you ain't surrounded by a crowd, you must be broken. But let me tell you something about her. A strong woman often walks alone, not because she chooses isolation, but because the world around her does not always understand her. Strength, especially in a woman, can be intimidating. It can unsettle people, make them question their own choices, their own voices, their own convictions. When a woman refuses to conform to expectations, when she dares to carry herself with confidence and stand firm in her beliefs, she finds that the road she walks becomes quieter. The louder her strength, the quieter her surroundings become. People often mistake her solitude for loneliness, but they fail to see the truth behind it. She has not been abandoned, she has simply refused to compromise who she is for the sake of fitting in. She has chosen integrity over popularity, self-respect over validation, and purpose over approval. And that choice comes with a cost. It means she will not always be invited to the table. It means she will not always have a hand to hold, but she understands that the cost of betraying herself is far greater than the cost of walking alone. A strong woman has learned that not everyone is meant to accompany her on her journey. She has seen friendships fade not because she lacked loyalty, but because she outgrew spaces that no longer nurtured her. She has watched people distance themselves, not because she changed for the worse, but because she became a mirror reflecting the things they did not want to see about themselves. Strength does that. It exposes, it challenges, it forces truth into places where comfort once lived. And yet, even with this understanding, the silence can be heavy. The world does not always reward strength with companionship. There are nights when she longs for someone to truly see her, to understand her without explanation, to stand beside her without being threatened by her power. But she has learned to embrace the quiet. She has made peace with the empty spaces, knowing they are filled with something far more valuable than empty connections. They are filled with self-knowledge, self-love, and self-trust. She does not lower her standards to escape loneliness. She does not entertain gossip to feel included. She does not pretend to be less intelligent, less ambitious, or less determined just to make others comfortable. She walks with her head high, her back straight, and her spirit unbroken, knowing that true companionship will come when it is meant to, and when it does, it will not require her to diminish herself. The world is used to women who bend, who shrink, who stay silent, but a strong woman disrupts that expectation. She does not apologize for taking up space, for speaking with conviction, for demanding what she deserves. And because of this, many will choose to keep their distance. They will label her as difficult, as unapproachable, as too much. But what they fail to realize is that she is not concerned with being liked, she is concerned with being whole. And so she continues to walk alone, not out of weakness, but out of an unshakable understanding that her strength is not meant to be diluted. She does not need a crowd to validate her. She does not need applause to confirm her worth. She is enough exactly as she is. And if that means standing alone, then so be it. Because she would rather stand alone in truth than be surrounded by people who only love her when she is silent. She moves differently, thinks differently, and speaks with a purpose that many do not understand. She is not lost, not confused, not searching for approval, yet the world looks at her and assumes she must be misguided. They say she is distant, cold, unwilling to blend in. They say she is difficult, too strong-willed, too independent for her own good. But what they fail to realize is that she is not lost, she simply refuses to walk a path that was never meant for her. People misunderstand her because she does not explain herself. She does not justify her choices, does not seek permission to be who she is. In a world where so many crave validation, where people bend and shift just to be accepted, she remains still, unmoved by fleeting opinions. And that unsettles people, that want her to conform, to soften her edges, to make herself easier to digest. But she does not exist for their comfort. She does not laugh when something isn't funny just to fit in. She does not engage in gossip just to keep a conversation going. She does not force herself into spaces where she is not valued. This is not arrogance. This is not pride. This is self-respect. But to those who do not understand, it looks like isolation. It looks like she has built walls too high to climb. In truth, she has simply raised her standards too high to be lowered. The world is quick to label what it does not understand. If she does not follow the crowd, she must be lost. If she does not seek constant companionship, she must be lonely. If she chooses solitude, she must be struggling. But she knows better. She knows that being alone is not the same as being lonely. She knows that silence is not emptiness and peace is not weakness. She would rather walk alone in her truth than be surrounded by people who only accept a watered-down version of her. She sees things differently. She questions what others blindly accept. She challenges ideas, speaks with conviction, and refuses to settle for anything less than what she deserves. And that makes people uncomfortable. It is easier to dismiss her than to understand her. It is easier to call her distant than to recognize that she simply values meaningful connections over shallow interactions. She is not hard to love. She is simply hard to fool. She does not fall for sweet words with no action behind them. She does not entertain friendships that lack depth. She does not lower herself to fit into places she has outgrown. And because of that, people say she is closed off, guarded, unwilling to let others in. But what they don't see is that she is open, just not to everyone. She is not misguided. She is not lost. She is not waiting for someone to show her the way. She knows exactly where she is going, and she knows that not everyone is meant to walk beside her. So she keeps moving forward, knowing that in the end, being misunderstood is a small price to pay for being true to herself. She has never been one to wear a mask. She does not pretend to be something she is not, does not shape-shift to make others comfortable, does not dilute herself to fit into spaces that cannot hold her truth. But authenticity comes at a cost, and she has paid it in full. Being real in a world that thrives on illusions is no easy path. It means standing firm when others want you to bend. It means speaking truth when silence would be easier. It means choosing integrity over acceptance even when it isolates you. People say they want honesty until it confronts them. They admire strength until it challenges their own insecurities. They claim to respect individuality until it refuses to conform. She has seen how people turn away when they realize she cannot be controlled, how they withdraw when they understand she will not be who they want her to be. She has felt the sting of being excluded, not because she has done anything wrong, but because she refuses to play along with the unspoken rules of society. If she does not gossip, she is labeled as distant. If she does not settle, she is called too picky. If she does not tolerate disrespect, she is seen as difficult. The truth is, she is none of those things. She simply refuses to betray herself for the sake of fitting in. It is not that she does not long for connection. It is not that she does not wish for companionship. But she has learned that not all company is good company, and not all relationships are worth the price of losing herself. She has watched others mold themselves into versions that are more palatable, more likable, more agreeable, and she has seen how exhausting it is to live a life that does not belong to you. She refuses to participate in that kind of self-betrayal. But there is a weight to living authentically. It means walking away from people she once cared about when she realizes they only love the version of her that was convenient. It means sitting alone in rooms where others gather, knowing she could be included if only she chose to be someone she is not. It means carrying the whispers, the judgment, the misunderstandings of those who cannot grasp the strength it takes to be real in a world that rewards pretense. There are moments when she wonders if it would be easier to compromise, if softening her edges, dimming her light, or nodding along when she disagrees would make life simpler. But she knows that the moment she starts to shrink herself to fit into someone else's mold, she will lose the very essence of who she is, and she refuses to live a life that is not her own. She understands now that authenticity is a filter. It sifts out those who were never meant to walk beside her. It reveals the ones who only wanted the easy parts of her, the ones who celebrated her strength until it no longer served them. And though that realization can be painful, it is also freeing. Because what remains after the false connections have fallen away is something real, something unshakable, something true. So she carries the burden of authenticity not because it is easy, but because the alternative is unbearable. She would rather walk alone in her truth than be surrounded by people who only love her when she is silent, when she is small, when she is something less than who she was meant to be. And that is a weight she will carry with pride. She has learned through experience and disappointment that the only person she can truly count on is herself. It wasn't always this way. She once believed in the idea of unwavering friendships, of unconditional support, of people standing by her side no matter what. But life has a way of teaching lessons that words cannot. And the lesson she learned was this: not everyone who claps for you is on your side, and not everyone who walks with you is meant to stay. She has faced moments where she reached out only to grasp at empty air. Times when she thought she had a solid foundation, only to watch it crumble beneath her feet. It was in those moments of solitude, when no one showed up, when no one answered the call, when no one stood beside her, that she realized something powerful. She was still standing. The strength she thought she needed from others was already within her. There is a certain freedom that comes with self-reliance. She does not have to ask for permission to pursue her dreams. She does not have to wait for validation to know her worth. She does not have to depend on inconsistent people to build a stable life. When she decided to stop waiting for someone to save her, she became her own hero. When she stopped expecting others to complete her, she discovered that she was already whole. She has built herself from the ground up, brick by brick, lesson by lesson. She has fallen and picked herself back up more times than she can count. She has learned to celebrate her own victories, to comfort herself in moments of sorrow, to push forward when everything around her says to give up. She no longer seeks approval, because she understands that people's opinions are temporary, but her self-respect is permanent. Self-reliance does not mean she does not value relationships. It does not mean she rejects love, friendships, or support. But she knows that her survival does not depend on them. She does not cling to people out of fear. She does not beg for attention, for loyalty, for presence. If someone chooses to be in her life, it is because they want to be, not because she needs them to be. That difference changes everything. There is an unspoken power in a woman who does not need anyone but herself. The world does not know what to do with her. They cannot manipulate her with loneliness. They cannot control her with approval. They cannot break her with abandonment. She has mastered the art of standing alone, and in doing so she has become untouchable. She moves through life with confidence, knowing that she will always find a way. When obstacles arise, she does not crumble, she strategizes. When people leave, she does not beg, she lets them go. When she faces hardships, she does not look for someone to save her, she finds a way to save herself. She is not waiting for a helping hand, not searching for a safety net. She is the safety net. And because of this, she is free. Free from the weight of expectations, from the fear of loneliness, from the disappointment of unreliable people. She has everything she needs within her. And that kind of self-reliance, that kind of power, it is rare. It is unshakable. It is the reason she will never truly be alone. She does not move without intention. Every step, every decision, every moment of solitude, there is purpose behind it. The world may not always see it, may not always understand why she chooses the path she does, but she does not need their understanding. She is not lost. She is not wandering aimlessly. She knows exactly where she is going, and she understands that sometimes the journey requires walking alone. There are seasons in life when silence replaces laughter, when doors close without warning, when the people she once held close begin to drift away. It is in those moments that she could question herself, wonder if she is the problem, wonder if she should soften her edges, lower her standards, make herself more acceptable. But she does not, because she understands that every phase of isolation, every shift in her circle, every period of solitude is not happening to punish her, it is happening to shape her. She has come to recognize that loneliness is often a classroom, a space where growth takes place in ways that comfort never could. When she has no distractions, she is forced to sit with herself, to confront the things that need healing, to sharpen her mind, to strengthen her spirit. She sees what others do not, that isolation is not emptiness but preparation. It is clearing the path for what is coming next. It is refining her into the woman she was always meant to be. She does not fear losing people anymore. She does not cling to relationships that have expired, does not chase after those who have chosen to walk away. She understands that when certain connections fade, it is because they have served their purpose. Not everyone is meant to go where she is going. Not everyone is equipped to walk beside her in the next chapter of her life. And she has made peace with that truth. There was a time when she questioned why things had to be this way, why certain friendships crumbled, why certain doors refused to open, why her path seemed lonelier than others. But then she realized she was being set apart. She was being given the space to grow without distractions, to develop the kind of strength that does not rely on external validation, to learn the kind of patience that only comes from trusting the process. She is not standing still. She is not stuck. She is waiting, preparing, becoming. She is learning how to build without shortcuts, how to stand without crutches, how to move forward with or without applause. This season of her life is not without purpose. It is molding her into the woman who will one day look back and understand why everything had to happen the way it did. So she does not rush. She does not force things that are not meant for her. She does not fear the quiet moments, the empty spaces, the unanswered questions. She embraces them. She trusts that the purpose behind her solitude will reveal itself in time. And when it does, she will not just be ready, she will be unstoppable. She has never been one to chase approval. She does not seek validation in the number of people who surround her, in the noise of applause, or in the fleeting attention of the crowd. Popularity has never been her goal because she understands how shallow it can be, how quickly it fades, how easily it shifts. One moment they love you, the next they forget you. One wrong step, one disagreement, one refusal to conform, and the same people who once praised you will turn their backs without hesitation. She has seen it happen, and she refuses to build her life on something so fragile. Respect, on the other hand, is different. Respect is earned. It is built on integrity, on character, on consistency. It does not waver with trends or shift with opinions. It is not given freely, not thrown around for convenience. It is something deeper, something lasting. She does not want to be liked by everyone, but she demands to be respected. And that, she knows, will cost her. Not everyone respects a woman who refuses to shrink herself. Not everyone respects a woman who speaks her mind without apology, who holds firm to her standards, who does not tolerate mistreatment for the sake of keeping the peace. She has lost people because of this. She has been called difficult, too proud, too stubborn. But she knows that those are just words used by those who cannot control her, by those who wanted her to bend, to compromise, to play small. She never will. She has learned that respect often comes at the price of popularity. The more she stands her ground, the more people will fall away. The more she refuses to be what others want her to be, the more they will label her as unapproachable. But she does not exist to be liked, she exists to be true to herself. If that makes them uncomfortable, so be it. She does not chase the approval of the masses. She does not fear being the one who stands alone in a room full of people nodding along just to fit in. She does not need to be invited to every gathering, to be included in every conversation, to be celebrated for saying what people want to hear. She would rather be the one who speaks truth, even if her voice is the only one. There is power in being a woman who is respected rather than liked. It means she is trusted, even by those who do not agree with her. It means her presence carries weight, her words hold meaning, her decisions are not questioned as easily. It means she does not have to entertain nonsense, does not have to beg for loyalty, does not have to compromise her values just to keep people around. She has seen what happens to those who crave popularity above all else. She has watched them bend, shift, and betray themselves just to remain in the good graces of others. She has seen them tolerate disrespect, lower their standards, pretend to be something they are not. And for what? For a fleeting sense of belonging, for temporary admiration? She would rather be alone in her truth and surrounded by people who only love a version of her that is convenient. So she chooses respect over popularity every time. She chooses to be firm rather than agreeable, real rather than light, strong rather than accepted. Because in the end, popularity is temporary, but respect lasts, and when the applause fades, when the crowd moves on to someone new, she will still stand tall, unshaken, unmoved, and completely at peace with who she is. A woman who chooses respect over popularity walks a path that is not always easy, but it is always worth it. She understands that in a world where so many crave approval, where people sacrifice their values for acceptance, where popularity is often mistaken for worth, standing firm in her integrity sets her apart. She does not take the easy road. She does not cater to the expectations of others. And she does not dilute herself just to be embraced by the masses. She has seen what happens to those who chase popularity, how it comes and goes like the wind, how it demands compromise, how it turns people into something they are not. And she refuses to be a part of that cycle. She has learned that respect is built in silence, in the moments when no one is watching, in the decisions that are made without an audience. It is found in the strength to say no when others expect her to say yes, in the courage to stand alone when it would be easier to follow the crowd, in the discipline to remain true to herself when the world tempts her to conform. Respect is not loud. It does not beg to be seen. It does not require constant validation. It is woven into her actions, her words, her presence, and the way she carries herself even when no one is there to applaud. This path is not for the weak. It is not for those who need constant reassurance. who fear being misunderstood, who seek comfort in the approval of others. Choosing respect over popularity means accepting that not everyone will understand you. It means being okay with losing people who were never truly for you. It means standing in your truth even when it is not the easy thing to do. But for the woman who embraces this path, the rewards are greater than anything temporary popularity could ever offer. She has built something solid, something that will not crumble when people turn their backs, something that does not depend on the changing tides of public opinion. She has peace. She has self-respect. She has the knowledge that she never compromised who she was for the sake of being liked. And that is a power that cannot be taken away. Those who once misunderstood her, who once saw her as too strong, too firm, too unwilling to bend, will one day see the truth. They will realize that she was not difficult, she was simply unwilling to settle. She was not unapproachable, she simply refused to entertain shallow connections. She was not too much, she was exactly as she was meant to be. And whether they respect her in the end or not, it does not matter, because she respects herself. In the quiet moments when she reflects on the choices she has made, she feels no regret. She knows she did not betray herself to please others. She knows she did not trade her integrity for fleeting applause. She walks forward with her head high, her spirit unshaken, and her purpose clear. She may not be the most popular. She may not have the largest crowd cheering her name. But she has something greater. She has a foundation that will never break, a strength that will never fade, and a life built on truth rather than illusion. That is what truly matters.